Vincenzo'S Gold Crypto Investing, and I wanted to start off with a natural gas play that I've been in for a while now, and today looks like we could be having a phenomenal day, finally. If we take a look here, we'll make that, what the fuck? Make that white. No, we don't want the background white. We want the text white. We had a head and shoulders that I thought was a head and shoulders, but it actually turned out to be a rising wedge. And we know rising wedges are bearish continuation patterns. And we had a price target down here, right? Let's change the color of this real quick. I know this is a crypto station, but this is some of the other things that I do. 5/30/2022, I bought 11 puts, and then I upped it to 18 put options for $17.50 strike price when UNG was at 29.33. And UNG actually a couple of weeks ago got all the way up to 32.77 and a 52-week high. But now if you look at the spot price of natural gas, it's in the toilet, right? And in the last 4 days, we've come down 32% in natural gas, and I have an underneath target of playing my patterns that I thought we were going to come down. The upper one got to get changed color. This is what happens when you change color. You can see this big rising channel that we were in the daily time frame, and I was playing a similar move of head and shoulders, head and shoulders, head and shoulders, similar, but it actually became a rising wedge. And then you see I superimposed underneath that the prior moves that I circled and how this should play out. And I entered the first initial position here and then sold down here, and I made 150%. Then I loaded back up in here too early, but I loaded up nonetheless. I gave myself plenty of time as I still got 3.5 weeks before these options expire. But you can see the lightly colored yellow and back is where I thought this price would come down to. And now we're one fall swoop away from getting down there. And I think these options are going to do really well, right? I got them on Robinhood. You can see they were worth 11 cents at the close, but they were up 100. They were up to 25 cents. Somebody paid for it Friday. I think these are going to be $50 or $75 today as the price of natural gas is imploding, right? And if this gets down to $20 today, we're going to do quite well. And I think that it's going to be a phenomenal trade there. So we'll see how that plays out today, tomorrow, and the next few days. But I think it's going to do quite well, right? And then if we look at the Bitcoin price, you can see it came up to that rising wedge that I thought we would be at. Came up to that rising wedge that I thought we'd be at, and I think it's going to top out here. See how it sort of, it was in this consolidation that we talked about yesterday, and now it's trickling up. See that? I think it's going to get topped out, but I could see a way that it keeps pumping. But I haven't done anything yet after I initially made that trade yesterday and made a little bit of money. Not a lot, but a little. And now we're watching this because it's getting into some resistance zones, right? And if we look at this, if this continues to hold above this 19,829, like I was saying, you could pump all the way up here to upper resistance where the 200-day is, and that would be a classic area for it to pump after a big dump, and that would bring the Bitcoin price up, 48% from its swing low. But this is also a technical pattern that the way this is going, it should roll back over, right? So we're watching this very closely in the Bitcoin price. You can see the dollar has been having a nice retracement from last week when it had a big rally after it broke back out of this falling channel and a consolidation that I thought was a bullish consolidation, and it was. It pumped up. Now it's getting staggered and getting stuck up here back by that old upper resistance and the old high right there. So we got to watch the dollar. If the dollar does something like this, Bitcoin could have a really nice run, and the stock market and the equities. But if this breaks back up above here or just sort of sits in this range, I think the equities and cryptos will come back down. So watch the dollar to figure out what's going to happen in the short term with Bitcoin and the equity markets. You can see the equity markets have been beat down severely, but they're trying to pump up as the dollar is retracing a little bit. And then another important thing I wanted to show, everyone always thinks the stock market can come back up and snap back right away, right? That's not always necessarily the case when you have bad monetary and fiscal policy. Take a look at the Nikkei 225 index. This is the Japan index. You can see back in the 70s and 80s, right up to, I think, 1990, the stock market in Japan exploded, right? And then they had an equity problem and a financial crisis. And what did the Japanese do? They started printing money, and they essentially monetized the country's debt. And look at this. You hit all the way up here at 40. This is not like a reverse split or anything like that. This was all the way up $39,260, all the way back. Of course. Okay, I got cut off at work. But you can see people think that it was all the way up at $39,260 in 1990. Do the math. Say you were retiring in 1990, right? You are now 2000, 10 years, 2010, 20 years, 2020, 30 years. You're 32 years later. And if you didn't sell and didn't have any understanding what was going on, they just monetized their whole country's debt and printed and kept interest rates at zero to negative for 32 years. All the way back in 32 years ago at current price, your portfolio is still down 32.31%, right? So anybody that was retired or trying to retire back then on the stock market, you never were able to. And you compound inflation, you're down. I mean, your money is essentially useless in this stock. Just remember that, 32 years, and you're still 32 to 33% below your all-time high. And that's after a 2008 at $6,600. That's after a 300% rally. So don't get caught up in the hype. You must educate yourself. Am I saying the United States stock market's not going to reach its high that it hit 6 months ago for 32 years? Absolutely not. But I'm just showing you that a major index, and then IKEA, this is their Dow Jones, 32 years later, right? It has not come back, and it is still 33% below its all-time high, right? And just imagine the money printing they're still doing and the horrible monetary policy. What happens if this rolls back over? It might not ever get back up there. You would think with inflation and money printing that this stock should pump. That's not always the case because companies there's nothing there, and the people don't have any money. And the stock market, even all that money they've printed, 32 years later, people, just remember that for Bitcoin, for the stock market, you might not bounce, even though 08 to 01, 1981, 1999, 2000, 08, 09, right? 2020, they've all snapped back due to money printing and what the Fed did, but that doesn't always happen. Just because it's happened before does not mean it's going to happen again, and you should not be basing your trades off of what happened before. Because look at this. These people that thought it would snap back somewhere in the next 3.5 decades, it has not even sniffed it, right? 32% below it is not sniffing it. And look how much the IKEA lost. From that great fateful day, late 1989, early 1990, it bottomed out. Their major stock market went down 82%. And it's still 33% below its all-time high. Use this knowledge wisely, right? Educate yourself on 10 to 20 year spans where major markets don't even sniff all-time highs after a crash. And if something like that happened in the United States now in the major indexes or crypto, and all these people that are in their late 40s, especially late 50s and 60s, and 70s that are retiring, nearing retirement. If you had some kind of cataclysmic crash and it took 10 or 15 years to reach all-time highs, that's a big, big problem, right? So you guys need to be educated on history and what actually happened in the past and what actually can happen in the future, right? The more knowledge you have about indexes and what can happen with horrible monetary and fiscal policy, it can only help you to sidestep and audible the market manipulators and the fleece heisters and shysters, right? Stick with Vincenzo. Use my links down below. Bitget if you want to trade with Vincenzo, or you're just a crypto trader and don't even want to trade with me. You just trade if you want a great, easy to use site with a lot of things to do. Bitget is what I recommend. And my partner link is down below, and I absolutely use that to help support the channel. I'd like to see more people on my Twitter and Facebook. I've noticed that the last few days. Like, subscribe, and share. My man, Mr. Conrad, said he's getting off the tugboat in a few days. That's great to see. Get the man some free time after. It's got to be hard work on a tugboat, right? A lot harder work than I do in an auto plant. I couldn't imagine being on a tugboat for weeks or months at a time, right, doing that kind of work. But, hey, it probably pays pretty good. So we salute you, all you hard workers that are out on oil rigs. I know I got a few guys on here that are on oil rigs. That's hard work. But keep on keeping on. Keep showing up to them jobs and making that bread and stash that income in safe assets. Maybe buy some gold bullion, some mining stocks. They're very cheap right now. I think they're going to explode, right? That's what I'm doing. You can hodl your crypto, but just buy them at the right times. Don't buy them into the hype. Buy them when nobody wants them. Right now, when you're seeing all these crypto guys, these crypto millionaires with 500,000 followers on their channels that are just throwing darts at bottoms, banking their bottoms, and then they buy when they show their accounts of $1 million that they bought just because it went down 20%, then it gets up 1%, and they're like, oh, we're in the money. They throw them the dart at 35,000. You watch their channels, all in. Then it crashes. They lose the trade. 25,000, all in. That's the bottom. Then it crashes and they lose that trade. 16,000, all in, right? And then it pumps a little bit, and they're just throwing darts. And the more you throw darts, thinking you're going to find a bottom, they're eventually, they're saying, oh, I don't care if I lose $1 million here, $1 million there, $5 million there, I lost $6 million there. Eventually, all that money's gone, right? People that have that kind of lackadaisical, throwing money at darts, $1 million at a time, they're going to lose it all because they're just brainwashed, right? You gotta live in the current time frame and with a level head and understand what's actually going on. Like, subscribe, and share. We have a busy day today on tap. I'm going to give you multiple good updates. I'm working on a Bitget tutorial, how to use it. I'm working on another for members only. The Bitget one I'll probably put out to my general audience, but my next TradingView one, don't worry, Conrad, even if you're not a member of Jabroni Killers, you were a member before, and then you had to go out to work, I will send that to you in your email, even if you're not an active member of Jabroni Killers, just because I know you're a long-time listener. You said you want to get back into the Jabroni Killer membership, but even if you're not, at the time I put the next technical tutorial up, I'll still send that to you so you can watch that, right? Like, subscribe, and share to Vincenzo's Gold Crypto Investing. And Derek, you've been a long-time member to Jabroni Killers. Maybe message me. Maybe I can work out a free month of Jabroni Killers for you, right? Derek G., your original OG, give me a comment down below. Maybe I can cash app you your $15 or whatever the Jabroni Killer membership is to give you a free month for next month, right? Start giving out some free memberships. If you're not a member of Jabroni Killer and you would like to maybe get a free membership for 1 month to see what's going on there, start commenting down below, and I'll pick a random person and cash app you the price of a membership, unless I can figure out if there's a way to hand out free memberships through my partner, the YouTube link, right? Like, subscribe, and share. We're going to start giving back to the community. Peace and love. Peace and love.